All right, so what we have right now is one component, and a component is the building block in a React app. So usually you're going to have multiple components. But right now we have one, this is the app component, and you could also say this is the root component. This is where it all starts. And right now we are just displaying a paragraph here, but let's make it a little bit more interesting. So instead of having a paragraph, maybe we are going to return a div here, and in there maybe we have some kind of number, let's say the number 0 initially, and then maybe we have a button that can increment that. So here we actually get a good suggestion from Copilot. We may just want to have a button with a plus sign. All right, so when I save here, you can see it formats this for me, including with these maybe for you strange parentheses. We'll talk about the syntax here. But basically we are returning a div here, and in there we have a span and a button now. But we still have one component here, right? And the component is the function here. Right, so in React, a component is just a JavaScript function. Now by default here, we also get some styles from a feed. So those are coming from this app.css file. Typically you also just want to, well, delete everything or delete the entire file even. So I will delete the file. And then also here, we have a bunch of CSS as well. Typically also, I just remove that, right? So that we can really start from a clean slate. All right, so now all of those styles are gone. If we now quickly want to style this, we could do that here in the CSS. We could give it a class name and then select it here in the CSS. We could do it that way, or we can do quickly some inline styles, and we'll talk about CSS. But what you can also do in plain HTML is write style. And then we want to have a JavaScript object. And if you want to use JavaScript features in here, you have to open up a window, right? So here we are writing JSX. If you want to write some JavaScript like a JavaScript object, you have to open up a window for that. You do that with these curly braces. And then in there we have our actual object, which is also a set of curly braces. So here, if we quickly want to center it, we get some nice suggestions here from Copilot, which I will just accept. And actually I also want to use flex direction column so that the number will be on top of the button. All right, so now you can see it's centered here. I think it looks a little bit better. Let me zoom in a little more. All right, so this is just some quick styling. But we still have one component here. Now in the real world, for various reasons, you want to split up the UI into multiple components. So what you may want to do is put this count here or this number into a separate component and then the button as well. So how would that look like? How would you now extract this span, for example, into a separate component? Well, what we could do here is we can create a new file and we could give it some name, let's say count. It's spelled with capital K's here in feed at least. And now here in this file, we can create our component. And remember, it's just a function. So I can write a function here. The name is also with a capital case. And then we can return something from that function. And that's what we're going to display here on the page. And what we want to display is this span here. So here I can just return that span, right? And now instead of writing the span in the app component here, I want to use my own custom component. So I can actually use the name of the component. And then it's like opening and closing tags in HTML. You would do that with the name of your component. Now, if you want to use it in this file, you do need to import it here, and therefore we do need to export it from this file. And we'll talk about exports and imports as well. So here then I can export this. So I can say export default to make it the so-called default export. And then I can import it here. I can write the last character. It will give me the suggestion here, press tab, and I get the import right there. Right? And when I save here, you can see it stays the exact same because what I'm doing here with this component right now is the same as just writing the span directly there, right? So this is the same as just doing this, as just doing this. But now this is separated into a separate component. Okay, let's do the same for the button. So we can go here, create another file, button.jsx, right? And then again, export a function here and make it a default export. And it's capital case. And what do we want to return from here? Well, this is going to be that button. So here I can copy that and just paste it right there. Okay, and now I want to use that button. Well, it's going to be almost the same here. Instead of lowercase, we're going to have the uppercase. So here then I can just import that. Let's see. All right. When I save here, you can see it stays the exact same. So we have our app component. You could say this is the root component. And then we have two child components in here. And this is basically every React app. It's just a collection or tree of components. So if you look at it from a diagram perspective, our React app is going to look like this. So it starts with the app component, and then we have two child components there, the count as well as the button component. Right? This is our entire React app right now. And that's how every React app works. Right? It's just a tree of components. And there are certain benefits that come from splitting up the UI into separate components, which we will talk about more. Now, before we do anything else, I do quickly want to talk about the anatomy of a component.